because I feel for this person working agency side for the majority of my PPC Google Ads career. Um, I know how it gets. Some days you just want the world to kind of swallow you up, and it just gets so difficult at times, and having to answer to all the people, and people asking you questions. It's very stressful, and in my experience it can be quite toxic, a toxic environment. Ever since I went freelance, I've just been so much more relaxed. I've never looked back. I love what I do. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the PPC Cave with me, Ryan Fenton, and my co-host, Gene Villanos. Say hi, Gene.
What's up, y'all?
And again, it's been a while. We've been very busy guys. Gene and I both have families. We both have other commitments. But from time to time, when the stars are aligned, we get together and we create magical content for you all. And we want to make sure that we always put out the best, highest quality content that we can do. So, yeah. Gene, how's things been? You been well?
Yeah, been well, snowing over here in Colorado, but yeah, happy to be able to do this podcast with you again, man. What about you?
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, pretty good. Like I said, we've been so busy here with work, family, and just everything. Just getting really colder now. Winter's definitely here, and yeah, it's crazy, but it's nice to see you again and be back here with you. So really looking forward to today's episode. And yeah, do you want to tell them what we're going to be going over today?
Yeah, guys, so we're starting a new series where we're taking Reddit questions and answering them on our podcast. And I've actually, if you're watching through video, either on Spotify video or YouTube video, have posted the actual screenshots of the Reddit questions on our video so you could follow along. And I actually answered the first two on Reddit, and my Reddit username is Gene Villanos. So if you want to follow me on there, you can do that also.
I'm also on Reddit, but I'm not going to give out my handle away or my username because it's not professional for
Yeah.
me. I follow a lot of other things like soccer teams and other subreddits. I'm a big Reddit user. I do follow the PPC subreddit, and I think there's another one, Google Ads, digital marketing. So I am quite active in a couple of those channels. But yeah, you probably won't hear from me. I'll just blend in with everybody else. But let's get the show on the road. So, am I going? Do you want me to ask the question since you've already answered this one, and then
Yeah,
I'll ask it, and then you can answer it? So
sure.
let me read. Let me read this one. So this is first campaign. This is search ads. I'm a newbie in Google Ads. I've watched a few videos, and everyone says to start with a search campaign and optimize for conversions. Is this the best way to start? And have you found success starting like this? How long should I wait in order to decide if I should shut off the campaign if I see no results? Just in case this is needed, I have a keyboard e-com store. Hope this helps.
Yeah. So I'll go first and then I'll ask Ryan here to answer the same question. But for me, yes, this is probably the best way to start is a search campaign. And also, how long should I wait? I would say about 3 months. If you have more budget, the better, 3 to 6 months. And that's kind of the short of it. But, diving a little bit deeper into this question, I think this is super important because it goes back to if you're starting Google Ads, this is kind of like the first question you would probably ask, if you haven't had any experience whatsoever. And this person clearly mentioned that they are a newbie. So if anyone is out there looking for answers like this, we do actually have a playlist on our YouTube channel that's called Beginner Google Ads Advice, basically, or Google Ads for Beginners. So the reason why that would be the best with search, is just because you have a lot of control. You have a lot of control in not only the messaging, but also the negative keywords and the search keywords. Unlike shopping, which I understand, e-commerce and shopping go hand in hand. What I told this person was perhaps start with a search campaign. If you have a small budget, then really make sure you're into targeting three specific keywords, like 3 word phrases. I think that will better qualify your traffic, especially in the beginning. You want to make sure you have as much long tail search terms filing in compared to computer keyboard or gaming keyboard, like 2 phrase search terms or search keywords. And on top, I would probably do a 95% 5% split versus a search high funnel mixed in with brand search terms if you have that traffic with a performance max campaign. And I think if you have a small keyboard business, really making sure you're focusing on the branding or your positioning of your unique selling points in the search terms and the ad copy on search, along with obviously your PMAX headlines and long descriptions and short descriptions. I think that's really important because you're not going to beat Amazon on price, speed, and reputation. Big players on Amazon, it's just not feasible for you to continually rank over them. So you have to pick your spots in, I would say, 3 phrase search keywords, search terms. And that's essentially how I would approach this. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, well, I think the keyboard niche is a very tough niche. There's some great, a lot of, I know a couple of guys that love mechanical keyboards, and really to hear the sound of the tapping. Obviously, for me, I use a Magic Keyboard, the Apple version, and it's very quiet, it's very sleek, it's nice. So, there's so many different variations of keyboards out there. And I think there's some that are just, like Gene was saying about the branding, even the packaging, the overall design, is really on point and really good. So I think the first thing is understanding that this is a very difficult niche, and that there are a lot of competitors out there with their own keyboards that, I mean, I don't know. This to me sounds like this is a guy who has got a small e-commerce store selling keyboards, whereas you've got a lot of really great keyboard sellers out there who take care of branding, packaging, design, all that kind of thing. So it's tough from tough from day one for this guy. But I'm going to disagree with Gene, and I'm going to go in with the Performance Max. I think something that I'm starting to notice over the last few months is I was moving clients away from Performance Max and onto standard shopping, just because Performance Max, it's very little control. You just kind of set it and it runs and things like that. What I'm finding from my experience now is that if you're a big brand, if you're, Nike or Adidas or, whatever, really big brand, standard shopping is probably for you. And I'm not even, worldwide brands, but even national type of brands. If you're a well-known brand, standard shopping is probably the way to go, in my opinion, because naturally you're going to get a lot of searches anyway, because people are going to be searching for your brand. And it's easier to promote a bigger brand than a smaller brand with standard shopping because you got that demand, people know who you are, there's more control, and in theory you would have more budgets to play with. If you're a bigger brand, if you're more well known, then you can have, say, $50, $100 per day, maybe even more, whatever it might be, maybe $1,000 per day in a standard shopping campaign, then a search campaign, and then you'd have like maybe a brand campaign, all these different campaigns running, which is fine. But if you're a smaller brand, if you're lesser known and you're maybe just starting out, I would actually say Performance Max, because when you look at it, this is what I'm seeing in my experience. The smaller brands that I manage, we've gone with Performance Max, and it's just a way to get the system moving, get some sales coming in, get some data coming in, and you might be on like $10 per day, $20 per day, 50, whatever it might be, and with that, you're advertising on all these different platforms: YouTube, search, Gmail, shopping, display. It's got remarketing built in, all these different platforms. So your target market isn't always going to be on the search channel. They're not always going to be on the shopping channel. They could be on other websites, and that's where you would advertise to them on display. Or they could be searching like best home setups or best office setups on YouTube and watch lots of setup kind of videos on YouTube like I was a few years ago. And then naturally that kind of aligns with keyboards because people want the mechanical keyboard or a sleek keyboard or whatever it might be. So that touch point of, you're advertising across so many different channels, I think works well with Performance Max and works well with probably this person here. They're a newbie in Google Ads. I would say, let's get Merchant Center set up, of course. Let's get all your products sorted, pulling into Google Ads from Shopify and things like that from Merchant Center. And let's just do 3 months. Again, that time frame, how long should I wait in order to decide if I should shut a campaign off? I would say 3 months running Performance Max. If you haven't really got any sales, then you probably know it's a telltale sign that it's probably not going to work out for you. Otherwise, okay, great. We've had 3 months. We've got some really good sales coming in. What do we do? Do we double down on what's working and then let's say create a search campaign, maybe a display campaign, and over time, should we look to shut off the Performance Max? Because at that point, 3 months down the line, we'll have some sales volume. Or do we just continue with the Performance Max and scale that as much as possible? So you've got a really good option there. Whereas I think if you're just starting out and you run a search campaign, maybe Performance Max in conjunction with that or standard shopping, it's a bit more of an uphill battle, I think, because you're a smaller brand. So that would be my 2 cents. And I just want to make sure I've answered this person's question. Is this the best way to start? Have you found success starting like that with a search campaign in e-commerce? It really depends, in my opinion. I think a lot of people are going to be looking on Google Shopping rather than search. But yeah, I think Gene and I both agree that 3 months is probably a good amount of time, 90 days, to know if the campaign's working or not. What do you think?
Yeah. And this is why you should listen and subscribe to the PPC Cave because we will give y'all multiple answers, multiple experiences. And you just heard from Ryan that this is his experience for something that's small like this. And, just strictly Performance Max. And I agree with some of the things he's saying. That's why I said maybe do a small budget Performance Max, but he's saying all in on PMax. And I think he read the part where I'm a newbie in Google Ads and, took that as like maybe you should be more hands off because Performance Max, then you fumbling around on search. Maybe that's, the reasoning for Ryan. Maybe I need to read the question more because like that's what I would do if I had a brand, but I know how to do a manual campaign and I know bid adjustments and I know when it's like, okay, time to move on. But that could be, a better value answer for someone that is actually newbie. When someone says newbie, I'm thinking you have some experience, but maybe Ryan saw this where this dude has no experience. And in that case, I would probably agree with Ryan and be like, you might have a better chance. It's going to be a Hail Mary regardless. But if you have no experience in Google Ads where you're an actual newbie, to say that I'm a newbie, maybe Performance Max would actually be more of a value for you where you could get conversions and just learn more. So you get, two sides of the coin when it comes to us. We don't agree on everything like that every time. But I think that's definitely valid. And he actually had, when I provided him my answer, he actually had a follow-up question that I'm going to ask Ryan. I have Ryan go first here. Google Ad automatically prompts me 21 keywords when I create the search campaign. Should I use them or just stick to 3 as you said? As for search, do you recommend using the homepage or product page? From what others have said, they're saying product page usually works. So we're moving from, the big picture here and we're kind of getting a little bit more specific. Ryan, how would you answer this follow-up question?
Yeah, I think Google automatically prompts me the 21 keywords when you create the search campaign. I don't think you should just add them. I think you should do proper keyword research first. So I appreciate, if he's a Google Ads newbie, which is what we're kind of getting. I mean, if he's asking these types of questions, to me, that tells me that he is kind of new to the game, which is fine. There's no problem with that. And when you've got a new Google Ads account, again, presuming it's a Google Ads account, you don't fully get the answers, you don't get the average monthly search volume when doing keyword research in the keyword planner. It gives you like a ballpark figure. Like this could be like between 100 and 1,000 searches per month, which is not ideal, but it's something to go off. So I would probably do some keyword research first and look at, okay, how is the market searching to find my products? Is it best keyboards online or best keyboard stores or whatever it might be? And I'd probably focus on, to begin with, probably in the region of 15, 20, 25 keywords split between phrase and exact match. That's how I would start personally. So no, I wouldn't add in those 21 keywords that Google prompts you to add. I'd do keyword research first, basically is what I'm saying. Focus on intent. Gene talked earlier about long tail keywords, and that's kind of the same thing, is that you want that kind of thing because you've got more context in the keyword, but also, if it's like shop keyboards online or best keyboard shops online or something like that, then go after those rather than just keyboard stores or best keyboards, because very little context, very little intent. You don't really know what the person's looking for. Um, do you recommend using the homepage or product page? Personally, for me, it depends again, because a lot of people these days are putting the product. If it's like a one store product, a one product store. Sorry, I think I've been drinking today. I don't know. A one product store. People put the product on the homepage, and that can work quite nicely. But if you've got, say, 5 or 6, 10, 12, 15 products, then probably direct them to, the product page itself. But again, how many products does this person have? Because that relates to how many ad groups that they have and how many ads, things like that. So it can get kind of messy. So again, it really depends. But maybe to start, I mean, if it was a performance max campaign like I suggested, send them to the homepage. That's what I would say. When you can put the final URL in with the asset groups, I'd just put the homepage in. But if it's a search campaign, how many ad groups is this person running? And that will determine, okay, if you've got, say, if you want to push 5 different products, then that's 5 different product pages that I would send the traffic to per ad group. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's a good answer or not.
I think it is a good answer. And what I actually mentioned to this person for the first part is definitely the same as what Ryan just said. With those 21 keywords, is that Google will automatically suggest, most of them are very broad. That's just AI basically kicking in, and it's going to be like stuff that might not even pertain to your offering. So I would not use that. The one thing that's different for me is I would go into your product pages and look at 3 keywords that you see either on the title or the item description that's kind of been, the theme on those product pages. And if you can't find descriptors like that on your product pages, you might need to back up this whole Google Ads thing and start doing on-page SEO and make sure that your final URLs correspond with your title, correspond with your item description, correspond with, your alt text. Because I'm getting the sense that this is a drop shipper, just because the question of how long should I wait in order to decide if I shut off the campaign in the first question, our questions me and Ryan have both gotten from however we get our clients, and we know that that's like a drop shipper question, because it's not how do I make sure my I sell, it's like, it's basically saying when can I move on and try the other niche that I've been waiting to drop ship. So yeah, I would definitely look on your product pages, and a lot of the times in e-commerce this is overlooked. If your product page is clunky, then and you don't have that SEO title that could provide you those 3 long tail phrases to put in search, then you might need to revamp some things. So yeah, I would definitely do that. I wouldn't use the 21 keywords, and I would do exactly what Ryan says. Do a little bit of research first. But so for the product page, like what will you land your landing page be? And for me to answer that is I usually, for the most part, unless I see data to prove either, to keep going or to not, to stop it, I would do three different final URLs. I always do homepage with one specific messaging to homepage, maybe more broad. Perhaps in this case, best mechanical keyboards. We don't know what you sell. Then I do collection. If it's best black or green mechanical keyboards, that's another final URL. And then I'll do, if you see a high CTR or just organically this specific product is getting a lot of traffic, or i.e. has sold in the past, maybe your best sellers, I will do one to that specific product page that's like the killer, your like best offering. And this could be used the same way as lead gen. It's like if you have your best offering or page that gets a lot of traffic, maybe you put that in along with the homepage. I like to mix it up because some people like to do just one product page, product to product page, homepage, homepage, homepage. Like, what is the difference there that you're going to learn if you don't start segmenting one to the product page, one collection, one to the homepage? So that's kind of my perspective, especially early on. If you're trying to learn, you need to be able to provide different A/B tests within your campaign and ad group structure. Any thoughts on that question or on that part before we move on to your question, Ryan?
No, I think you kind of covered that. I think that was really good. I think, if this person is saying though, like, oh, I can't wait for this to be over, let me move on to the next one, then, it's not really a business. It sounds like a drop shipper. You kind of need to be in it for the long run, not just like how long should I give it before um I can get out type of thing, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. So did you want me to read the next one and then you can answer it and we'll go that way?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So this is one I found over the last week, and I thought this was really good. And I've got my own opinions when it comes to agency life. Gene's not really experienced it to a degree, so it'll be interesting to see what he has to say in terms of advice. But basically, this person feels pretty trapped. They've been working in agencies for 15 years, peaked at the highest role, managed 5+ direct reports. They advise with C-suite on a weekly basis, business decisions. They manage their own ad accounts as well, a portfolio of clients, I assume, that's exclusive to them. $5 million in ad spend a month across many accounts and platforms, mainly in e-commerce. This person's seen lots of success, but is starting to feel drained. Agency life is quite draining. They wear lots of hats, never really feel like they get a chance to just sit down and dominate just one, probably just spinning lots of plates. It sounds like this person's already been trying to get out by applying for many different in-house roles, but no one's really, been able to. He's not really got any interviews, or she's not really got any interviews. They've had the resume reviewed by resume writers. It basically sounds like they're doing everything they can to get out of the agency life. They've kind of peaked in their role over the last 15 years. And what's next? They sound pretty drained. Lots of issues at the moment with the economy, the market. And this person basically just feels trapped. So they say, anyone have any advice on how they transferred out of agency life? Any roles outside of ads management you moved on to? This person says, I don't want to run my own agency and probably don't have it in me to finance my own product or business. So this person, to me, is not interested in being a freelancer. They just want out of agency life and maybe just a fresh career start. Gene, what would you tell this person?
Yeah, this is a very I saw this actually. I didn't have a chance to reply to it, but this seems like this person is just very tired. Very tired of the
Yeah.
routine, mundane, and I think I might be wrong, but I think the reason why is because of you get into that loop of corporate life where you don't really have any agency or autonomy because you're always continually reporting, continually communicating to higher ups. And so for me, how to answer this question is you really have to look inside and think, okay, I am so hinged and so reliant on other people's looking at my resume, other decision makers dictating if I get a job or if I do not get a job. How do I get out of that? Really going more broad than just I feel trapped, I want out of agency life. How do you feel fulfilled? I can only speak on my experience. I feel fulfillment in my 9 to 5 currently and in my freelance because I call the shots. If I want to do something in my 9 to 5, I will do it. My GM is so chill. He'll be like, yeah, let's do it. You've proven yourself in the last 7 years to grow this specific website year over year, 15+% each year. So, I have autonomy. Also have autonomy in freelancing where I can dictate clients either a yes or a no if I want to work with you. And I don't do anything that I don't want to do, in my life. That's why I am fulfilled. So I think that this person really needs to introspectively look and see, is it because I want out of agency life? Or do I just want more autonomy where I don't have a direct higher up telling me exactly to jump, to duck, to move backwards, to move left and right? Because I think as a man, speaking for myself, that is a very belittling position to be in. What about you, Ryan?
That was a good answer. Really good answer, my friend. Um, I think this person just sounds, like you said, tired, drained. They feel trapped, of course they do. Just kind of stuck in the, like you say, in a bit of a rat race, like day in, day out, same thing. Um, so, what can they do? Well, I would say take things back to basics a little bit and say, is there any part of your job role that you enjoy doing? If it's the PPC stuff, then okay, maybe let's focus on that. Is it more of the managerial stuff or maybe the business side of things? I would say take things back to basics and say, okay, where do I want to go from? You don't want to have your own agency. You don't really want to have your own business or products. Okay, that's fine. So you kind of want a career, you want a job, I suppose, in-house or maybe just at a different agency. So I'd try and keep pushing on with that. Um, yes, I mean, I don't know where this person is from, if the UK or US. They're using the dollar sign. I'm assuming US. As we know, a certain president has just been re-elected, so I assume the economic market is going to change in the US soon. Maybe, I don't know. Um, so things might be on the up. But I would say it's difficult, and this actually reminds me of when I was trying to, get jobs and move around, and I would. It's so difficult to get interviews. People don't really want. You could have all the experience and all the degrees and everything, certifications, but if nobody's hiring, then it's difficult. Or if people are hiring, maybe they want a specific person, and that might not be you. So I would say take things back to basics. What part of your job role are you enjoying the most? And then just try and focus on that for the time being, until an opportunity comes up. It's very difficult. That's a difficult question to answer though, to be fair, because I feel for this person working agency side for the majority of my PPC Google Ads career. Um, I know how it gets. Some days you just want the world to kind of swallow you up, and it just gets so difficult at times, and having to answer to all the people, and people asking you questions. It's very stressful, and in my experience it can be quite toxic, a toxic environment. Ever since I went freelance, I've just been so much more relaxed. I've never looked back. I love what I do. I genuinely love it with a passion. And yeah, so this person, I don't know how much they really enjoy PPC, if that's what they're doing. They don't actually say they're doing PPC, I don't think. They're just saying that they're in agency life, right? So I don't know, but if they're saying they don't want their own agency, they don't want their own freelance, they don't want to own their own products or business, then how much do you actually really enjoy? Well, they do say any roles outside of ads management, but how much do you really enjoy it if you don't want to do it for yourself? So maybe a different career path could be on the cards for you as well. Um, Gene, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and that's breaking the actual question down. That was a good catch where they don't want to do it for themselves.
Thank
So
you.
it's like, for me, it's like the only reason why I worked my 9 to 5 where I did in the beginning is so that I can set myself up to do it for myself. That
Mhm.
was the light at the end of the tunnel, which it still is. Because, like, for me, I don't answer to a C suite or GM really. I have, you know, a lot of autonomy and I work direct with consumers. Those are the people I answer to, so it's really difficult for this person to say 15 years, high seniority role. I manage my own ad accounts on top of that. You have all of this experience and with longevity on top with 15 years. What got you to 15 years? What part of you wanted to say after 5 years, this is awesome. I'm moving up in the ranks. After 10 years, I'm, reporting 3 or 4 or 5 different direct management reports to C-suites, advising weekly. Then 15 years, like you're in this for the long haul. So there has to be, like Ryan says, a going back to the basics of understanding what part of this got you to 15 years. What part of this whole experience in your career provided that longevity of your experience, and start there. I really under understand this from afar, even though I've never been in agency. I've always been in-house, which this person is trying to get in-house, and brother, it's way better. From what I've seen from the people that I've spoken to, like Ryan, you manage, one thing, and it's just so much better because you really get to, sink your roots into a specific organization or specific niche. And I think you learn a lot and you could extrapolate that. But you have to ask yourself, like, how did I get here to 15 years if I didn't somehow love or like some of these aspects of my role? And yeah, I mean, it's tough, but you have to figure it out. You have to figure it out. And if the answer is, I just don't want to be in agency life, I think another thing that could kind of push you towards making the decision, if it's hard as it is to maybe leaving even without another role secured, is speak to your organization. Let them know what's going on in your head. And if they don't like what you're saying, then for me, that's even more fire and encouragement to be like, okay, well, then if you don't like what I'm saying, I'm going to double down on the interviews that I'm trying to get from in-house. I'm going to double down on the resume and I'm going to do more of what I'm doing because at this point it's a numbers game. Any, comments on that last part, Ryan?
No, I don't even know if this person will be happy in house. I think they just maybe even need a fresh career break. Or what am I trying to say? Like a new career, outside of, Google Ads, ads management, anything to do with like search or anything like that. I think they just need to kind of look internally and say, what do I enjoy? What do I want in life? And kind of follow that. Whether that's being a bit more creative, if they enjoy writing ad copy, for example, maybe look at going into more writing or anything like that. Or if it's more, the technical side of things, then maybe, website development or something closely aligned to it. If they've been in it for 15 years, like you say, there's got to be something that they really enjoy. It's just trying to understand what that would be. So I think they probably just need they're burned out. 15 years in any industry must be quite difficult anyway. I think they just need to take a bit of a break. Just try and find themselves a little bit and either say, right, are we going to try in-house or are we going to do a new career, whatever that might be. So that's all I'd say on that.
Yeah, and like I would ask you, Ryan, like how would you, if you were still in agency, I know, there are different organizations. If I was to tell my current boss how I felt, he would do all he can to figure out either a little bit of a role for me that's different, or maybe, okay, like I hear you. Like he is very absorbent when it comes to someone feeling burnt out. On you, on the other hand, how do you think it would have gone with you? You don't have to like let people know where you worked or anything like that, but how, in general, how do you think it would have gone on the opposite end for you?
So if I said to like my line manager or whatever, I'm feeling pretty burned out, pretty trapped. Um, is that what you're saying? Like that, basically?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it would have gone to higher management and they would have said Ryan's feeling unsettled. Should we think about, maybe pulling else somebody in, maybe not looking to replace him, but he's unsettled, so we can't really rely on him. Maybe we should give him the smaller accounts. Yeah, you look shocked,
Damn,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
this is true.
I
This is
don't
true.
know.
This is one agency that I worked at
Mhm.
specifically here in the UK, and I can imagine it being, let's give him the smaller accounts because he just doesn't care anymore. We'll take off the big accounts from him, replace him with smaller accounts, and just this would have been a conversation, I imagine, between my line manager and probably the two bosses or something like that. So that's how I would have envisaged that going. But this is the thing: agency side is cutthroat, is toxic. You're not really looked after. You're just a number, really. You're just okay. If you can't do it, we'll get somebody else in to replace you, and we'll give them 5, 10, 15 accounts because there's so many people that want jobs in agencies and want to get the foot on the ladder and things like that. So that's how it would have gone for one of them. For another one that I worked out, um, probably, I mean, the other one I worked at, well, I worked at a few, but one in particular is a little bit more family run. But I still think the thing would have been like, kind of suck it up and continue or find another job type of thing. So yeah, definitely not as understanding and want to take care of you as Gene. In agency life is difficult. It's a different ball game, different kettle of fish. I didn't like it, as you can probably tell. Um, I appreciate that I got my start somewhere. I cut my teeth with it. I learned what I did, but I think, in all honesty, I would have ended up in the same place I am now because I had the passion. I had the drive and the determination to get where I wanted to be. That was just in the middle. And now, me as a freelancer doing it for myself, I am so much happier and I still love doing it. So I think, yeah, that's the main thing is you've got to have the love for it. You really do. And, you need that determination. Otherwise, you're just not suited for the industry. You should follow your dreams, whatever they are, elsewhere. This is getting quite deep. So
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that. What do you
Yeah,
think?
for sure.
You seem quite
Yeah.
shocked about some of those comments that I made just then.
I have no clue, man. I have no clue how bad. I mean, I understand from afar, but like you being your life experience kind of hinged upon that, which I think that's why you go so hard with freelancing, and you're always trying to better your brand and do as much you can for your client in a
Thank you.
streamlined, systematic way, because you don't want to go back to that, and I get it, I get it. And that it probably is a benefit for you that you've, experienced that. So now it's like you're like really all in. So yeah, I am surprised, but like not really at the same time, but I just don't have the experience, and it is kind of getting a little bit of deep, but this is a good thing for our podcast, and this is a good thing for us to be able to answer these questions, because a lot of the times you have people come on Reddit and not only want an A, B, C, D answer, but are just looking to be heard, and just looking for almost camaraderie and, just to get it off their chest, and a lot of the time agency life or even corporate life in general, if you're a professional, it's the longer you are in a industry, the more problems, the more stress. It's a rat race, like Ryan mentioned. It's going to get to that point where you might need to speak to someone about it outside of, your circle, maybe even professionally. I'm not against that if that helps you. So I think this is someone that, like you said, Ryan, is burnt out, and maybe it is just them kind of needing, to be heard, and maybe the answer isn't really the answer. It's more so the process of speaking and talking about it. I could see that being also an outlet for them. But yeah, that's kind of my last remarks. Ryan, any last kind of thoughts on this in general? Anything?
No, I think it's been a good episode. I think we should continue doing these, hopefully we're not going to offend any Redditors in the process. I think we're just taking a bit of a back kind of view and overall view and just providing our insights on things. So hopefully no one gets offended. But yeah, where can we'll wrap this up because I think it's been a good episode. Where can people find you, Gene, if they want to reach out?
Yeah, you could find me at genevillanos.com. What about you, Ryan?
Well, yeah, exactly. You can find me at ryanfentonppc.co.uk. That's pretty much it. I'm back on LinkedIn finally after 2 years. So I'm just going to be optimizing my profile a little bit, probably send a lot of connections out there. But yeah, feel free to connect with me. I'm Ryan Fenton on LinkedIn, and I'm going to be doing a lot more work on there. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll continue this on. I don't know what we're doing next time, but just make sure you're tuned in every Monday, 12 a.m. Mountain Time. We're on YouTube, Spotify video, Spotify, and Ryan always makes sure that he updates the socials also. So we'll be around, and if there's nothing else, then bye for now.